Welcome, I'm Dave Morgan, CEO of the YMCA of Greater Kalamazoo. We'd like to welcome you to today's breakfast. I'd like to first introduce my first guest, it's Ben Davis.
Good morning, I'm Ben Davis. I'm the Chief Advancement Officer for the YMCA. Again, welcome, thanks for joining us. It's going to be a breakfast like none that we've had before. If you've been a guest at any of our past events, this will look different. 2020 was a year like never before, so we're gonna have a breakfast like never before. For one thing, Dave and I are wearing pants. We recognize that some of you may not be.
Well, and yes, I was going to stand up for you, but since Ben shared that I am clearly wearing a full set of clothes, we're good to go. But with that today, I'd like to just also share a little bit of what the agenda, what it looks like today. We are trying to be safe. We have a shield between us. We have our mask. Again, we are truly making sure that people are healthy and staying well during this pandemic. But today is about sharing stories, about the work that the Y has done, the critical work to make sure this community stays safe and moves forward and gets out of this pandemic. We're also here to raise some money. So we want you to think about that when you hear these stories and consider what you can do to support the YMCA. We also want to have some fun. You know, we don't want this to be your standard Zoom meeting. So we have some breaks in between where we're going to hand out some raffle prizes along the way. But let's get started. Let's really get the ball rolling. I'd like to introduce my first guest. It's John Broszak, Chairman of the YMCA Board of Directors. Take it away, John.
Good morning and welcome to the Kalamazoo YMCA Annual Breakfast. My name is John Broszak. I'm a Vice President with Consumers Energy, and more importantly, I'm the current Chair of the Kalamazoo YMCA Board of Directors. So once again, welcome and thank you for being here today. It's hard to believe that a year ago, this was one of the last in-person events that we were able to have before lockdowns, closings, remote school, and all of the other challenges that many of us have had to deal with over the past year getting through this pandemic. And I just want to share my pride and the Board of Directors' pride for how this YMCA leadership team has responded. Whether it's providing childcare to the children of essential workers so that they can be on the front lines at our hospitals and first responders, whether it's providing other support for families and their emotional needs or other challenges that they've had, whether it's supplying free meals to people or remote exercise, coordinating blood drives. The way in which this YMCA leadership team and staff has pivoted to adapt to the challenges of the pandemic has been nothing short of amazing. And we want to share some of those stories with you today so that you can understand the full achievements that the Y has accomplished over the past year. I joined this board over 5 years ago. And at that time, I really didn't know much about the Y. I knew it had a gym. I knew it had a pool. I knew that there were other prominent leaders in the Kalamazoo area that believed in the mission. And I have learned so much about the full scope of the mission of the YMCA and how it supports really childhood education and daycare, how it also provides opportunities for youth development, team sports, exercise, so we can create the leaders of the future. And then the full range of support for those that are later in life with specific conditions or needs. The Y is part of the fabric of Kalamazoo. So we hope you enjoy the stories today. We hope you can appreciate why I and the other board members love the YMCA. And we're going to ask you to reach into your wallet and think about being generous to the YMCA so it can support its mission and be an even broader force for good. So thank you again for being here today. Thank you for your support of the YMCA. We hope you enjoy our virtual time together and look forward to your ongoing involvement and participation with the Y. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for those very kind words. We really appreciate it. Let's take a moment to introduce our next guest.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, I'm Devonnie Block, and I'm the Development Director here at the Y. And I'd first like to give a great big thank you to our generous sponsors of this event, CalSec, Consumers Energy, AVB, and Travelers Cafe and Pub.
Speaking of AVB construction, which helped us build these wonderful facilities that we have and all get to enjoy here in Kalamazoo, one of the things I said we were going to do is have some fun along the way. So we're going to offer a drawing for a free 6-month membership for somebody to enjoy those great amenities that we have here at Portage and Maple. Most importantly, if you remember the great work AVB did to build that new family pool that we have. So we're excited about that. We're going to allow somebody a chance to really enjoy it. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Devonnie.
Yes, just before I got here, I drew a name from our registrants to win a free 6-month membership to the Y. Our winner is Mark Everson. Mark, we have your contact information and we'll be in touch.
Awesome, that's great news. So we're excited about that again. We didn't want this to be your standard Zoom meeting. We wanted to have a little bit of fun, and we have one more drawing throughout the day, so stick with us. Next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. Is Brendan Janot. He's owner of Travelers Cafe and YMCA board member. Take it away, Brandon.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for our 2021 virtual community breakfast. I am Brandon Janot from Travelers Cafe and Pub. We are excited to be a part of this event along with the great sponsors CalSec, AVB, and Consumers Energy. They have helped to make this event possible. I am happy to be part of such a great organization. As a board member for a few years now, I love seeing how the YMCA continues to grow and help our community with many of its great programs, from after-school learning to healthy living, and even the big program of meal assistance, which we know in 2020 was especially important. Since you're joining us today, you have received a $20 gift certificate to Travelers Cafe and Pub just for signing up. All you need to do is bring that certificate in to the restaurant when you come to join us for lunch or dinner, and we will make sure you're redeemed and taken care of. Thank you again for participating this morning and learning what the YMCA does for our community and how we can help to keep all the programs running and thriving for the future of this community. Enjoy the rest of the program, and I hope to see you soon.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Brandon. Ben Davis here, coming to you from the Portage YMCA. Wish I could see all your faces out there, and I can't wait to see you again at the 2022 YMCA Community Breakfast. You've already heard some this morning, and you'll continue to hear some more about the work that the YMCA has been doing in our community over the last 12 months. Although it's looked very different from previous years, what hasn't changed is that through our programs and membership, the YMCA welcomes everyone inside its walls, no matter what their potential barriers might be. We provide a place for families and youth and seniors who need a place to become their best selves, who need to be seen and known and supported. And you all know, as leaders in business and education and nonprofit, that in this community there are significant resources, but there's also tremendous need. Even before the pandemic, about 38% of households in greater Kalamazoo couldn't afford basic needs like housing, childcare, food, transportation, and healthcare. And with the impact that COVID-19 has had on businesses, jobs, and household incomes, things have only gotten more challenging. But the YMCA believes that everyone needs and deserves access to life-changing programs for youth development and healthy living and social responsibility, no matter who you are and what circumstances are impacting your financial situation. And that's why it's part of our mission to ensure that no one is turned away from our programs and our membership based on their ability to pay. It's why initiatives like meal delivery and our programs at Lincoln School operate free of charge, and also why we don't turn anyone away from any of our programs when they need help towards the fees, whether that's chronic disease prevention programs, preschool, after-school care, virtual learning hubs, swim lessons, youth sports, summer day camp, or anything else. And it's the support of our donors and funders, specifically our annual campaign, that makes this possible. We raise money for the YMCA in lots of different ways from lots of different sources to make it possible for us to do the work that we do. And that happens through grants, through events and sponsorships and planned giving. Sometimes we raise money for specific programs that need extra help. Sometimes we have big fundraising efforts for capital projects like new equipment or building repairs or expanding and renovating our facilities. But it's the annual campaign that's at the very base of all the fundraising that we do. It's the building block that some of those other fundraising efforts are anchored to, and it's ultimately what makes it possible for us to meet our mission of ensuring that no one's turned away from the Y, regardless of the financial obstacles they face. Now, many of our donors, including some of you, I'm sure, are also members of the YMCA. So some of you could wonder, why do you need to raise money when the Y charges for memberships and for programs? And the answer is those membership fees and program dues cover the basic costs of doing business, while the money raised through the annual campaign goes to the members who need it. So I like to say membership dues help keep the lights on, but the annual campaign is what welcomes everyone inside. Or in other words, membership dues operate our facility, while your gift is what will really change lives. So the money raised through the annual campaign helps pay the way in the form of financial assistance or YMCA scholarships to those who need it. And 100% of donations to the annual campaign supports our community and the people in it. Now, just to illustrate for you the reach and impact of our financial assistance program in recent years, back in 2019, our annual campaign raised support from our donors and funders in the amount of $248,000. And that same year, we awarded almost $500,000 in financial assistance towards membership and programs. So that means we gave out almost exactly $2 in assistance for every dollar we raised. And that was in 2019, pre-COVID, when membership was growing and our facilities were at full operation. Last year, 2020, looked a little different, obviously. Thanks to the amazing generosity in our community, our annual campaign raised more than $315,000. And the challenge due to the pandemic was that there was less demand for financial assistance for membership and programs because for 6 months, our Y facilities weren't open to our members and most of our typical programs weren't operating. But even still, we awarded assistance of more than $326,000, which left us with a funding gap of $11,516 at a time when every dollar is critical. But even though participation was down somewhat due to those circumstances that were out of everyone's control, look at the impact. 1,451 membership units received a portion of that financial assistance in 2020, totaling almost 6,000 individuals impacted. And out of those, almost half, or more than 2,800, were youth under the age of 18. So that's still a tremendous number of lives that were changed by being able to participate in YMCA membership and programs who might not have had a chance to do that without the annual campaign. And the even better news is that things are looking up. Obviously, there's a long way to go still, and we all have a part to play in overcoming this pandemic, but we're optimistic that as this year continues, it's going to look more and more like 2019 and other years before it. We know that members will continue to come back to the YMCA, our buildings and our programs will be busy once again, and applications for financial assistance will be back on the rise. And so we're hoping to raise at least $400,000 in our annual campaign this year because we think that's what it'll take to fully fund the needs that we anticipate as we restore our facilities and our programming line up to full strength. We've gotten a start on that goal with a few gifts and grants that came in early this year, and dozens of our staff members have already contributed from all levels of the organization and every department: lifeguards, childcare, exercise instructors, tennis coaches, you name it. And then we received some advanced gifts from some of you, as well as some individuals who are unable to join us today. And so all in all, we're more than 10% of the way to our goal. To help us towards that $400,000 goal though, for everyone else, towards the end of the program today, one of our key volunteers will be asking you to join this effort. And if you're antsy before then, you can always jump online to kzooymca.org/donate or give through the link that was in your email invitation for today's event. So thank you for thoughtfully and generously supporting the YMCA annual campaign. It's what will continue to make it possible for us to keep meeting vital community needs and to get stronger together. And now I'll turn things over to our YMCA's marketing director, Vicki Kettner.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Brendan. Boy, this really is different, right? Under normal circumstances, we would be sitting side by side at a beautiful breakfast table in a very lovely space, catching up. And by now I would have gotten my annual hug from Betty Lee Angley, and I'm really missing her today. And we're missing everybody. We're missing our community collaborators, and we're missing our community partners, our new friends that we've made along the way. And there is a sense of missed opportunity for strengthening relationships. And so at the risk of sounding like we're trying to speed time along, we are looking forward to next year when hopefully we will be side by side with each other, sitting at a breakfast table, catching up, talking over our breakfast parfaits, not that there's anything wrong with breakfast parfaits, everybody loves parfaits, but thank you again to Travelers Cafe and Pub. Your printed ticket confirmation for this event acts as a $20 gift certificate, which you can use at your own time. It does expire July 31, so keep that in mind, but you'll be able to have a really nice breakfast this year, or any meal for that matter. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the keynote video that has been presented and prepared by Stanley Steps, who himself is a YMCA member. Stanley brought his own Y experience and insight to the project, and we're especially delighted that he's been able to work on this. I will tell you, as marketing director and storyteller, every single day a Y member reaches out to us to share their Y experience and how it's impacted their health and wellness journey. And so it's especially delightful to see some of those stories come to life and to be captured in this way. Thank you, Stanley, for your great work. Thank you to those persons who have participated in this video and who are so willing to share their story with us, with you. On behalf of the staff and on behalf of the board of directors, I invite you to watch and hope that you will love this as much as we do.
The YMCA is about three things: youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For youth development, we're talking about making sure kids reach their full potential in life. Healthy living, making sure people are healthy and living well. And when we talk about social responsibility, it's simply about helping our friends and neighbors every day reach their potential. The YMCA closed roughly March 16th of 2020.
When COVID hit, I thought that it was going to close down the YMCA, going to affect our members in a tremendous way because we lost that engaging part with them.
We began to shift our energies towards other things, and the first step was essential childcare. We needed to make sure that our essential workers were able to maintain their employment, and so we started providing free and essential childcare for people in this community right here at this YMCA. We recognized that people weren't going to be able to come into the Y like they used to. They weren't able to go on a treadmill or visit their favorite group exercise class. So we began to shift our focus there and said, okay, how do we meet them virtually?
Within a week of the shutdown, we were on Zoom. And I didn't waste any time. I was concerned about their mental and emotional state, as well as their physical state.
When I first learned that I could take it via Zoom, I had no idea what Zoom was. I loaded it onto my phone, and it was great.
As the Active for Life director, I have to figure out how to make sure that our healthy aging stay moving.
The opportunity to work out safely in our homes was very comforting and reassuring, and gives us all a feeling of we're going to make it through this.
We've just pretty much tried to adapt to the COVID life. That's what people call it now, because it has impacted us in a very, very hard way.
Through the KPS and Communities in School and KidNet and so many others, Community Foundation, that really made it possible, because again, without them all coming together and us recognizing the same need, we wouldn't be able to accomplish what we did.
The YMCA operates 3 community learning hubs that serve over 100 Kalamazoo public school students. They stepped up in the beginning, the fall of 2020, and have continued through all 3 trimesters, offering really high quality supports during the day for KPS students so that they can fully engage in their virtual learning with their classroom teachers.
And then when we talked about supporting our friends and neighbors, we started recognizing that there was a critical gap in the food delivery system. And so we started offering free food and delivering it to community after community.
I got a phone call from Dave Morgan, CEO of the Kalamazoo Y, and he informed me of a feeding program they were running at the time. They were making approximately 300 meals a day and distributing it to kids across Kalamazoo area who otherwise would go without because of the school cancellations. He said, Zach, we can feed more kids, we can feed more people, we just don't have a space to do it. Do you think Sherman Lake could use their kitchen to make meals for people in our community? And our team said, of course.
It's been a great partnership with the Sherman Lake YMCA, but the most important part were people were getting a free and healthy meal every day.
On April 1st, we started making 1,200 meals a day. Kalamazoo Y staff would come out in their buses, they'd pick them up, and they'd distribute across the city of Kalamazoo, free of charge for kids and families in the community. That went on from April to today, and we have total made over 100,000 meals to distribute to kids and families in our community.
Our team was also our members and our donors and our sponsors and those within the community, because we couldn't have done this without them.
We have a staff full of folks that are innovative and willing to jump in and willing to help. And when you get hired for a position here at the Y, that's not the only thing that you do. We wear many hats, and sometimes you have to step in and do what's necessary. And so that's what we did. That's what we did collectively. That's what we did on an individual basis to make the whole machine work together.
The approach we take to care is one at a time. This one, and the next family, and the next family. That's the approach we take, because that's the best we can do, and it doesn't relinquish our responsibility to do that. I want to thank you all for your support. The work that we've done here, this critical work around food delivery, essential child care, virtual classes, all the stuff that the YMCA has done during this pandemic would not be possible without all of your support. So I want to thank you all. We ask you to continue to support the YMCA so that we can continue that critical mission work. We're not through this. We do see a light at the end of the tunnel, but now is not the time to quit. We need to continue on, and again, we could not do it without all of you.
Wow, that was just an amazing piece. I want to thank Stanley Steps, who we hired to help put that together, told a great story about the Y. I hope you were all as touched as I was by it. It was pretty amazing, so thank you. So with that, I said we were going to have some fun along the way. Obviously, we want to be serious and tell some stories, but one of the next steps is we're going to do another drawing, and this time for a camp, a week of camp at the YMCA, because the Y is about fun. We want kids to have a great experience, and as things begin to go back to normal, summer camp is just a great way to start that. So we did a drawing with the help of Devonnie earlier today. We did the drawing for the membership. We also asked her to pull a name for a free week of summer camp. And with that, our winner today is Kimberly Whitaker. So Kimberly, we will get you that information. We'll reach out to you real soon, and congratulations on winning that free week of camp. I'm going to pass it on to Ben Davis now to talk a little bit about our next steps.
So our last guest that you're going to hear from this morning is Dr. Scott Nikesa. He's on the YMCA Board of Directors. He's also the CEO at CalSec. And Scott's going to talk with you about the importance of the YMCA's annual campaign. It's really at the heart of why we're here this morning. He's going to tell you how you can support the campaign and why that's important. And as you heard earlier, we have a pretty lofty goal this year, so it's going to take all of your help to get there. Take it away, Scott.
Good morning, everybody. I want to start by introducing myself. My name is Scott Nikesa. I'm the CEO at CalSec. More importantly, I work on the Y board, and I'm a member of the executive committee. And I also want to start by saying thank you for attending the call today and listening to all of the great information that you've received from the Y, things you've heard about over the years and things you can imagine that were much more challenging this year. The fact that this is a virtual meeting, so I know many of you are longtime listeners, first-time callers today, and it's just one example of the impact that COVID-19 has had on us. But today is a very important day for the Y. And today is a very important day because we're raising resources to carry on the mission of the Y. And we've heard about and learned about the mission of the Y is to help families in our communities, to help children in our community, our youth, and also seniors in our community. And what the Y wants to see for all of these groups are healthy outcomes, educational opportunities, especially those that start early in childhood development, and for everyone to reach the full potential available to them in their life. Normally, that is a challenge because the needs in this community are great, resources are always challenging, but just imagine the impact that COVID-19 has had on us this year and how much more heroic the efforts at the Y were in order to provide services and help for those families. They provided meals, they provided services, they pivoted it to new technology and to new platforms of delivering programs so that they could still be a beacon and a light and a hope for people that need the why there to help them get through the life that they have. The conclusion of this meeting is a way to ask you to think about showing generosity and gratitude for the why, and it's my part of the program to ask you to contribute to the why. And I'm never bashful about asking for help for the why because I am such a great believer in what they do, and I've learned so much about the why in the years that I've been on the board that it's truly inspirational to be up here representing the why. So I thought about what is a way I could inspire all of you, and what is a way I could make this day the most successful for the why. So I decided to look up, how do you inspire people to give? How do you inspire people to contribute? There's a lot of different ways. Some are more effective than others. Some work in some situations. There's the idea that you can motivate, leverage, even perhaps threaten people. So anybody giving today will receive one night of having me in their home for dinner. Anybody that doesn't give today will receive 2 nights of having me in their home. So that might inspire a lot of you to, I'm going to give and forget the dinner, but probably not inspiring enough. And then I read about, there's characters, there's stories, there's, heroic acts that people have made that are inspiring to all of us. And one of the most often quoted one is Rocky. So I think Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, 4, a small town boxer gets this incredibly rare chance to fight for the world heavyweight title and to fight for his own self-respect. And you can imagine, because of COVID-19 and the interruption of filming in Hollywood, we were not able to make Rocky 27, 28, and 29 last year. But could you just see Rocky at the Y at the desk, and he's writing a check and he's going, "Yo, Adrian, I'm giving to the Y today. It's not only the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do, eh?" And then, he'd be not inspiring enough, probably. So what could really inspire us? And I think it's our own story. And I think it's what we heard today. So can you imagine the inspiration of what the Y did through the impact of COVID-19? 500,000 people, over that many, died in our country. And yet the Y is open. The Y is providing meals, providing services, and they're a beacon of hope for our community. That's truly inspiring, and that's at the heart of their mission. And can you imagine the people that work at the Y? All of those people that are at the front desk, that are in maintenance, that are cleaning and sanitation and administering programs and instructing and managing the Y and the services and that. They have to keep themselves healthy, and then they have to come into work and keep the community going and provide services. How truly inspiring the stories of those people are that they found a way to get to the Y and do their job. But what's even more inspiring is to think about our own story. And all of us, many of us, are out every day thinking about our families, working for our families. So we want our children, our grandchildren, our parents, our friends, our neighbors, our community, we want them to have healthy outcomes. And we want them to have the full potential and to get great education starting at an early age so that they can reach their full potential. And we do that, and we have a lot of resources available, many of us, and many of us have good jobs, and many of us are able to continue working through COVID-19. But many in our community were severely affected by it. And what's truly inspiring is the Y will not turn anybody away because they don't have enough money to pay for their membership. That's inspiring. So if you think about COVID-19, the impact it had on you, all of the weariness, the mental anguish, the emotional strain, the troubling times in that, and then think about somebody with less resources, less ability to follow an outcome that is healthy for themselves, that is counting on the why to be there. So could you say that the thing you remember about COVID-19 and the year was that you gave on the most important day for the why, and you gave so that you could spread and share some of the hope and dreams that you have for your family with those that are much less fortunate? That would truly be inspiring. And that's all I need to say, to ask for your generosity in giving as much as you can to help the Y in its mission. So I want to say thank you again for being here. I want you to try to stay positive, test negative, and thank you again.
So thank you again, Scott, for those really kind words. We wouldn't be able to do it without you and all of you that help support the YMCA moving forward. I do want to have a little fun. I'm not going to do a Rocky imitation like Scott just did. I'm going to get a little more serious and ask you to look within your heart to support the YMCA. As many of you know my story, I wouldn't be here today without the YMCA. You know, the YMCA is about three things: helping kids reach their full potential in life, making sure people are healthy and live well, and then we support our friends and neighbors every day. I'm a byproduct of that. I wouldn't be here today without the support of the YMCA, and we want to make sure that everybody has that same opportunity. That we want to make sure that they have the support, they have the programs they need, and the services they deserve. And so please look within your heart and make a donation to the YMCA. There's many ways to do it. It's in your chat. There's a link there. You can visit our website, but we'll make it available to you. So please take a look at that. I want to thank our sponsors once again: CalSec, AVB, Travelers Cafe, and Consumers Energy. We could not do this event without all of you. I'd like to thank all of my staff for all the work that you do to make sure our community is safe. We're meeting their critical needs. You met some of them today, and there are many, many more that are making this work possible. We hope you had a great time today. We wanted to have some fun, but it was serious. You know, we want to do great work, and we need your help. So please, thank you again for joining us. Enjoy your rest of the day.